Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, April 7th, 2022. Jeremy Crosby here. Hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the snow showers, the rain, the snow, the rain, the snow. When is it going to go away? I mean, we want the rain, right? We need the rain, make up for the drought. But snow. It's opening day, too, for baseball. You went down to Wrigley. You got cold weather today for opening baseball. Thank goodness that we have a dome over our ballpark. That's all I'm saying. We appreciate that. We got a great show coming up for you today. We'll get you the latest headlines, including continuing our coverage of the Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week. We'll talk about the drill. We're going to show you a little bit of the drill that we did for the afternoon drill here at City Hall, and talk to our emergency manager, Joe Polvemacher, fire chief of the Fitchburg Fire Department, and your emergency management manager. We'll have all that for you coming up. Plus, we're going to take a look back at the shred day as that is coming up this weekend. We'll get you the details coming up just in a bit. But with the weather, tornado drill. You had the one this afternoon, and right now, 6 o'clock, so you have 45 minutes before the next one happens if you're watching this at 6. If you've gone past this, don't worry, I've got some other information to tell you. But there is a tornado drill happening at 6:45 p.m. tonight. We already had the earlier one in the day. I like that they're doing this at night. It gives you a chance to practice your plan at home, because most likely you'll be at home when this happens. I mean, it could happen during the day, but a lot of storms happen during the late afternoon, evening hours into the overnight. So be ready. And this is your chance to practice. Stop what you're doing. Practice your plans. Talk to your kids. And make sure that you have everything you need and put it into action and see how it works. We've got some information, I said, coming up. And we're going to talk with Tim Hallbach coming up on tomorrow's show. And he'll have a great story about tornado shelter and something to think about for the kiddos and planning ahead. He's got a good idea for that, but we'll have all that for you tomorrow. As far as severe weather goes in shelters, though, if you missed the practice, it still doesn't mean we can't share some great information in tornado safety. So again, having a plan ahead of time is where it's at. So where is the safest place to take shelter? Well, you want to put as many walls between you as possible. Basement lowest level is always a plus. We'll get away from windows, be at the center of the building, put shoes and boots on, get under a table if you can, cover yourself with pillows and blankets, put a helmet on, like a bike, motorcycle, or a hockey helmet. Anything to protect you from falling debris and whatnot, super important. And also take the time to build that emergency kit if you haven't already. That's a great thing to have and near your shelter area. So you can use it post whatever happens with the storm. But I've seen there was a recent video of somebody sitting in their front room videotaping as the tornado was destroying their house, and then the video cuts out. And I don't know what happened to that person, but their house was literally being destroyed, and it was probably too late for that person to take cover. So these things are coming in. Take cover, and said get into your safe space wherever that may be. All right, turning our attention to the cleanups. First, we'll start with the recycling day event. We want spring cleaning time, right, folks? You got to get everything clean. Well, we'll start with the spring cleaning event. This is happening this weekend, April 9th. It's happening from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the City of Fitchburg campus, 5520 Lacey Road, or City Hall, Community Center, Senior Center, Police Station. It's there. That's our city campus. Confidential paper recycling will be happening. Bring your paper out in paper bags if you can. Containers should be less than 30 pounds each for easy lifting from our volunteers. Plastic bags cannot be shredded, so please don't bring that. And you see the things that cannot be shredded by the machine, so please avoid bringing those items. As far as the electronic recycling goes, well, we've got a long list here of the things you can recycle for free, and then there are some additional fees for extra things, mainly into the TV monitor area or just flat screens. All of those come with extra fees based on the size and what they are. Microwaves, and there is rechargeable battery recycling as well. It's free for a limited number of vehicles while the funds last. Proof of residency is required, and they do accept cash, check, and credit cards at the site. Finally, Med Drop box is open as well. That's inside the Fitchburg Police Department. You can check the guidelines for that as you bring your stuff over, but we have that available to you. You'll have to park, though, and go inside because we can't literally move the drop box. It's like locked in right there. So at least you can see a photo of it and know what you're looking for when you get into the police department. So that'll be open on Saturday for you. Waterway cleanups are happening. The annual Waterway cleanups are scheduled for Saturday, April 23rd. It'll happen between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Volunteers are encouraged to wear boots and bring work gloves, vests, bags, and gloves. Will also be provided at the event. And please beware, there are no restroom facilities. So plan ahead as you come out there. As far as locations for cleanups this year, Dunn's Marsh, Corey Hill, Swan Creek, and Yarmouth Greenway. There are maps online showing you exactly where you go for each of the cleanups. We'll share more of that as it gets closer, but we want to make sure you get that on the calendar. And we appreciate all the help in the past and looking forward to having help coming up this spring. All right, the time is now. Time is now to talk about your healthcare decisions. Fitchburg Senior Center hosting an event to inspire you to get educated, empower yourself, and have everything you need for planning ahead. NHDD is an initiative to encourage patients to express their wishes regarding healthcare and providers, facilities to respect those wishes, whatever they may need. NHDD helps people understand the advanced healthcare decision making, including more than living wills. It is a process that should focus on first on a conversation and choosing an agent. This will be happening on April 13th and 14th between 10 or 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the Fitchburg Senior Center. And this is a drop-in only event. So you can just stop in and start a conversation. It's as easy as that. And then over at the Fitchburg Public Library, they're going to be having a digital privacy and security event, talking and keeping you safe. Learn about the basics of keeping your information private and secure online. Topics will include passwords, browser information, and avoiding spam and phishing emails and more. To register, please go to you can call the reference desk at 608-729-1763 or stop by a reference desk on the second floor for more information. This is scheduled for April 20th, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. the Fitchburg Public Library Technology Center. So it's on the second floor of the library. All right, that does it for me on the headlines. Coming up next, we open up our digest. We're going to be showing you the tornado drill, what to do, and how we did it at City Hall, plus talk with our emergency management. That's coming up next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at on the left, in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. This is Joe Povemacher. He's the fire chief. He's the emergency manager, and he's my friend. And we're going to be talking today about, well, there's about to be a test tornado drill.
Yep.
It's a Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week. We've been talking about it all on the show. So today, we're going to actually watch this happen in action here in City Hall. What does City Hall do during this, or if any public building? What are we going to be doing?
So awareness is something that we need to do community-wide. I mean, it's not just something that we tell our residents to do, it's something that we need to practice internally. So there is a policy, a procedure, a process to be able to get the type of, to provide information as far as shelter, where they need to go, and how they need to be safe in the event of severe weather. So that's what we're going to be practicing today. The alert's going to go out. Typically, our police department receives the alert from the National Weather Service. It could be through emergency management. There's a number of different ways that they can be notified. But once we do receive that warning, and then the watch and then the warning, two different things. We can discuss that in a little bit. But once they receive that warning, they know that they need to start notifying everybody in our municipal buildings so that they can get to their lowest possible level and seek shelter.
Yeah, it's super important. Speaking for public safety, what if you know there's storms coming towards said fire station or said EMS station or said City Hall Police Department? Are you like saying get the heck out of there early, or what are we doing?
So because of the fact that this is weather, it's unpredictable. I mean, we can possibly provide some advance warning as far as the general area that it's going to be in, but specifics we'll never know until it actually happens. So we typically do not position throughout the city with our vehicles because of the fact that we have multiple stations that are in different portions of the city. The likelihood of both of those stations being affected at the same time is very, very small. So we'll keep our firefighters in position in the station because they too need to seek shelter. Then once the storm passes, depending on what areas of the city are affected, we'll respond accordingly. And if one of our stations has been impacted, hopefully at least at that point our firefighters are safe. If we put the firefighters out into the general public during an emergency and a tornado hits, well then they're in their vehicle and it's much more dangerous.
So the police department just put out the message and it said?
So the police department put it out. The message basically is stating that this is a simulated emergency, that the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for the area, and that our city employees need to follow their policy, procedure, and evacuation protocol. So right now,
yeah,
for example,
if you could pan over to that, Andrew.
The clerks, they're going to secure their area. They're going to look for anybody that's in the area, to include citizens, not just employees. Take them with them to the shelter areas. So this is a matter of keeping everybody in the building safe. And then you can see that what they are going to do is they're going to start proceeding down to the stairwell to their lowest possible area.
They're having a little trouble finding. This is why we practice this, just to make sure that they can get to the right place,
So
certainly.
It's safe to, actually it's good being able to report on this. We have two different aspects of this building. There is the community center, senior center side, and then the city hall side. There are two shelters in this area, so they needed to pick which one they were going to and commit to it. Let's go upstairs and
I want to point this out. Here at City Hall, we have actually signs here that say designated tornado shelter and points to where you're going. So we definitely have that. Get your exercise as EM.
Yeah. So at the same time that they're making the notification here at City Hall, the notification has also gone to our libraries, to our Department of Public Works, and to the fire stations to be able to address the impending weather. So all we do during this process is to walk through the area, just make sure if anybody has any questions, we're able to answer them. It's a quick once-over of the building on all levels, and then we eventually make our way down to the shelter area.
Who typically is going to do this if you're not here?
This is everybody's on their own. If I'm not here, this is just a drill, right? So the chances of me being here are very, very small during an actual emergency. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that everybody just knows where they need to go, and after that, it's a matter of implementing this process on their own.
What would you recommend for our apartment buildings and mobile homes? Two different types, but might not have the traditional basement or
Right, so it depends
shelter.
upon construction. If they have a basement, then what we want to be able to do, we're going to go right here real quick. If they have a basement, they're going to want to go to the basement, lowest possible level. If they are on, built on slab on grade, they're going to want to go lowest possible level, center of the building, underneath a solid structure, like maybe a pretty well built table. Door frames are pretty good. Typically, bathrooms are in the middle of the building. Something that isn't necessarily on the outside, closest to the windows. We'll want to avoid windows, exterior windows, if we can.
And then once...
No, I'm sorry. And then the mobile home you had talked about.
Thank you.
So with the mobile home, a similar situation. If they don't have the ability to find shelter within their trailer park, then they're going to want to consider being in the center of that property as well, or that's the mobile home.
All right, so we're heading down, and again, I mentioned that the City Hall's got some signage for designated areas. Some schools have that too.
Schools have it.
Public, or businesses, I should say.
Just about every business will have something posted for their fire exit and their emergency shelters. And then as you can see down here, we just make sure that everybody has a place to go. And so this is the lowest possible level of this building. It's away from windows and it provides the best shelter. You guys have any questions? No. All right, all clear. You can go back. Thank you.
Way to go, Misty. Good job. Tracy, good job, guys.
Yeah.
So they sent us this.
Uh-huh.
They send us an all clear.
They can. It sort of depends on how that comes across.
Okay.
So actually, that's a good point. We have an alert procedure within the city, at least right now, for city head or department heads, who are then able to get a little bit more information as far as what is happening with the weather situation. So yes, I mean, if there's other notifications that need to come out, it would come out through the alert.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Question for you.
Yeah.
All right, the drill is over. Joe, I got my exercise, but I also learned a few things today, which is good. Certainly, as we wrap up Severe Weather Awareness Week, what would you recommend as emergency manager when you take everything that's been talked about all this week for severe weather? How would you wrap it up and tie it up in a nice bow?
Well, what I would say is, as everything that we talk about with emergency management, it's about readiness, response, and recovery. Readiness is just knowing what you need to do in an emergency before the emergency. So know where your shelter area is. Try to figure out what that looks like and how long it's going to take. What you'd have to do inside your own home and who you have to notify. As far as a response standpoint, that's the drill that we just did. It's simulating the response and actually implementing it. And then if the severe weather does happen, it's really just a matter of implementing what you already know and taking advantage of your knowledge. And then from a recovery standpoint, that's on us as the city, as Wisconsin Emergency Management and City of Fitchburg Public Safety, and quite frankly, all of our municipal departments, is to start figuring out what we need to do to get people back to normal, some semblance of normal, that is. So there's a lot to think about, and if you have any questions, it's really just a matter of reaching out. I'd be happy to answer any of those questions that anybody within your listening audience, within our community, has.
All right, we'll follow up with Joe down the road and talk more about emergency management as things come about, if you will. And we appreciate your time, Joe, as always, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next. We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year. And lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region, too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our Public Works Department, Sustainability Specialist, Phil Groupie. Phil, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm living the dream, my friend. Glad to see you back on the show. And we're going to be talking about the spring 2022 Recycling Day event coming up. And it's coming up fast, Saturday, April 9th. Tell us about this annual event.
Yeah, so this is something that we try to put on once or twice a year. It's just an opportunity for the city to help residents dispose of things in a little bit more responsible way than just dumping in your kind of green waste bin. So we're collecting confidential papers that you need to have shredded. Pelletary is helping us out with that. And then Resource Solutions is a company that we've contracted with to bring a couple of trucks to pick up electronics, appliances for recycling.
Why is it important to host these events overall? So when we're just looking at this as a broad picture, I mean, it's a great event first and foremost. I mean, not shocking news there, but there's other benefits to doing this besides what's on the surface.
Sure. So it's important for us to look to find ways to reduce what we're sending to the landfills. We have limited space for solid waste like that, and whatever we can do to divert those waste streams somewhere else, whether it's reuse or recycling, we really want to encourage people to take part in that. By the city participating in this, I think it makes it a lot easier for a lot of individuals who maybe aren't quite sure where to take things themselves. And so being able to create this sort of centralized location for this is a way to help out our residents to participate in something. But also it makes things a lot easier and more accessible for our residents. We're really happy to run these kinds of events and just make things a little bit more efficient and more accessible.
When it comes to just everyday recycling at the carts, does Pelletary keep track of things that shouldn't have been going in the recycling? Like, do you get reports, Phil, of like, hey, you know what? We're seeing a lot of TVs being dumped recently, Phil. What do you say?
I don't get regular reports. I do know, once or twice a year, we kind of check in with Pelletary and we find, somewhere between 10 and 15% of what's being put in the recycling bins is not actually recyclable. This is something that I know last year with the Green e-newsletter, I sent out a special edition in June that was specifically about recycling. And it's really difficult to keep this in mind. It feels irresponsible, but the mantra, when in doubt, throw it out, is really a good way to go. If you know something is recyclable, let's recycle it. Let's make sure that's not going to the landfill. But actually throwing things in the recycling bin that shouldn't be costs more time and resources, and it can actually make recycling less cost effective. So really understanding what goes in that cart, what should go in your green landfill or your landfill bin, what can be composted, dropped off at the city's recycling site, or brought to an event like this is really important.
Looking at the electronics specifically, Phil, again, it's kind of the similar question, in fact, but does Pelletary have to sort those recycling items out if they do whether they throw them in the trash or recycling? Like, are they able to pull that stuff out, or because of the time and resources, does it just get passed through and goes into the landfill?
If something that is recyclable is put into your green bin, that's just going to go to the landfill. There's no manual effort put into sorting that out. If something is put in your recycling bin that shouldn't be, that will have to be removed because that can cause various problems with the recycling process.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know because you might be like, oh, they'll figure it out. It's on them to do that, and definitely not the process there. And we do have a med drop going to be available on this event as well.
Yep, it will be. Yeah, so we have a med drop location at our police department that's accessible when the department's open, but we also really encourage people to bring unused, expired, unwanted medications. And there are instructions we have a flyer that's posted on the city's website. If you search for recycling event, it's the first link that's going to pop up. And there's a flyer link there that describes all of the things that can be brought for the confidential paper shredding, for the electronics and appliance recycling, and then also the med drop.
And specifically on the electronic recycling, Phil, is there some extra costs in disposal of some of the items for recycling?
Yes, some items, especially larger items, or things that maybe take a little bit more effort to recycle. So things like CRT and flat screen monitors, TVs, microwaves, things like that are going to have a small fee associated with them. And that just has to do with both the complexity of recycling and the bulk, the size of these things. And it's just extra weight and effort to get these taken care of.
All right, Phil, anything else we need to know for the big recycling day event?
Like you said, it's going to be Saturday, April 9th. We're going to have it open from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you've been hanging on to things, not quite sure what to do with them, but they're not usable anymore, this is a great opportunity to come drop them off. Hope to see a lot of people out there participating.
Yeah, you guys do some great work with this, and usually is a pretty good turnout overall. So we'll look forward to continuing to share that event. Phil, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it, and we'll check back in with you real soon.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
You bet. Again, April 9th, get that on your calendar for the big recycling day event, and we'll keep passing on the information as well. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg, wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank Joe Povemacher, Fire Chief, Emergency Management Extraordinaire, for helping us and showing us the right way to go use our tornado shelter. And you should too. Make sure you practice and have a plan for your severe weather plans. I said plans twice, but you get the point. And Recycling Shred Day happening this weekend. We hope you'll take part in it. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.